has a lot of dependencies used to make it to work. So I downloaded it. It's an open. Most of these
Okay.
open source applications, that's the challenge with them. Some of them you will have to
Yeah.
start figuring out how to make them work. But if it is
Yeah.
premium applications, you just pay, and if you're having issue, you just call their customer service. They'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, yes.
yeah, this one that is open source, you'll be the one to go online, go
You
to
figure it
stack,
out yourself.
yeah, to find a way to make it happen. So OpenVAS, I got it installed. Then some of the what's it called dependencies were not working. I tried it till up until yesterday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. It wasn't giving me the application open, but the scanning interface was not
Yeah.
showing.
Yes. Yes.
So I have to now consult again and resorted to Metasploit. So I used Metasploit to do the first scanning that was successful. And
Okay.
it was interesting what I found that I have to scan my own website. So I think I might be able to, since we're already discussing this now, let me see whether I could share with you guys the result of the scanning. So that's one thing I like
Okay.
about live class. It doesn't follow
Yes.
the rules all the time.
Yeah.
You
That's
jump
fine.
here,
That's
you
good.
jump here, to make
Yeah.
things lively. And that's I learned it from my own boss too. When we are in the class and
Yeah.
stuffs like this come up, he jumps in right away and shows us this is it, this is it. But if you're watching the
Yeah.
recorded session, you might not be able to uh, have those kind of privileges.
That's it.
Just a minute, let me open the machine and get us the.
When I saw that your message, actually, I also tried to install it.
Oh,
The open verse, yes. So but I ran into problem. I think you also made mention of part of the problem you had,
yeah,
which was the Postgres
yes.
16. So now I have Progress 16 already installed in my local PC.
Okay,
So this the open mass, I think it can only run in open this in Progress 17.
17. Yeah, I think so.
So to sort it out became a problem for me. And I said, okay, let me leave it. Let me leave it for now and do some other things. So later, I'll ask you.
Yes. So,
Uh,
so let me open up. I'm trying to open up where because what I do is when I get bunch of results um, from my work, I use tools like ChatGPT. I use them in the right way to get the results that I'm looking
yeah.
for. Late period. So
Yes. Yes.
let me
Yes.
see the practice. The vulnerability text that I run. Let me see whether I could just pull it up.
What was breakfast? No, the egg and bread. That's
Okay. Oh, it even gave it to me on PDF. That is interesting. That's interesting. So let me show you guys how I made it happen. Stop sharing this page. Stop presenting. Present window. Okay, if you can see my screen, you let me know.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So when I got this is the result of the scan that I made. So I told ChatGPT I decided to run a NICTO test on my website. So NICTO is also a web application vulnerability scanning tool. So, and I decided to, I just ran few codes and it got installed, and I decided to give it a try. So this NICTO along with Metasploit, then I think it gave me, let me go up a little bit. That, let me see whether I could get the instructions above with the tools that it's recommended. Just a bit to make them check that. Metasploit. Help you. Okay. I think I'll get the compile later. So I decided to run Nicto test. Someone should just pen down Nicto, so you could look up on Google what's any good documentation it has, what it is. But it worked the first time I used it here. So I used it to test on my website, and here is the result. I decided to run a Nicto scan on my website. What is this result? So this is how I interact with ChatGPT. It already has information of what I'm trying to do previously. I'm working on some projects on home lab. So, you know, any answers is going to be given to me is going to be tailored to our previous, like, it's going to be on this information. So what I do is I feed it in with the prompts of what I am doing, what I'm expecting, and it gives me, at least it does that robust tech or reading of log work and brings out the stuff that would have taken me lots of time to go through. So, so now this is where I started writing uh, the I started putting in the command. So this is my lab, my machine, and I was operating as root. So the command was nicto edge, then the IP address of whatever I want to search for. So I had the http.gms.com.ng. So, and I went ahead to put the target IP address, the host name, then the port number. Okay. With the HTTPS, you already brought out the target port target, which is 443, which was supposed to be a secured port. So now it started and finished with all these results. Now, going through these results one after the other, I might not be able to quickly see some of the vulnerabilities there. You say the anti-click jacking server Apache. It found server Apache, which is anti-click jacking, XFM. So many of these results you saw. So I now told ChatGPT to look into it and sieve it out for me as a document, bringing out what it found inside the scanning, whether there are vulnerabilities. So it says the Nikito scan result shows several security concerns. Are you guys following?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, including missing security headers, potentially exposed files, and backed up files that could reveal sensitive information. Then here is a breakdown of the findings and possible steps. All information security professionals who are certified by ISC2 recognize that such certification is a privilege that must be both earned and maintained. In support of this principle, all members are required to commit to fully support this code of ethics, that is the code. So, Benjamin,
Yes, sir. Can you?
yeah, read the next paragraph.
Okay. ISCT members who intentionally ISCT members who intentionally or knowingly violate any provision of the code will be subject to action by the peer review panel, which may result in the revocation of certification. ISCT members are obligated to follow the ethics complaint procedure upon observing any action by an ISCT member that breach the code. Failure to do so may be considered a breach of code. So failure to do so may be considered a breach of code pursuant to canon and code.
Yes. So
Let's go on.
that's clearly explained. There are only four mandatory canons in the code. By necessity, such high level guidance is not intended to be a substitute for. Okay. Is there any echo? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So just kindly mute. If you want to talk, you could just unmute then talk. You know, we are recording, so when the recording comes out, it doesn't go to noise. So there are only four mandatory canons in the code. By necessity, such high-level guidance is not intended to be a substitute for the ethical judgment of the profession. I need someone to explain this part. What does it mean by necessity? Such high-level guidance is not intended to be a substitute for the ethical judgment of the profession.
Okay, I think they have four mandatory canons in the code that like someone should not exclude those canons and the guidelines.
The phrase I actually want to be explained is by necessity, such high level guidance is not intended to be a substitute for the ethical judgment of the professional. This is talking to you and I. This is talking to the professional. What does this particular phrase? Who knows what it means? Who can explain it for us in layman time? Mr. Chinedu, can you give it a try?
Okay, I think my own understanding. I think what they are saying is that we cannot substitute or that the ethics supersedes, any other canon code or whatever that I have. So, we should not uh, think that the four mandatory canons, uh, will override the ethics of the profession.
Yes. So, in other words, there is this ethical judgment a professional or a person will have in front of situations. So, above these canons, when it comes to real life situations or real life dangers, see, uh, you shouldn't substitute your ethical judgment for the canons. For example, I think during this training, there's a part where they got to where I think they explained something like that, where if um, the building, or if your system is about to, or there is a fire incident, let's say for a fire incident, and you are meant to secure or try to save the system. So in order of ethical judgment, life first. See, life first. You have to ensure that you are safe first before saving the system or saving the properties. So there is quite a dicey um, code, but I believe these judgments they happen instantaneously when you are face to face with the situation. So it's not something. It's something that involuntarily a human being will act on, even without being talked to about it. So ahead of it, they listed out the code of ethics preamble and also the canons, which is here. You also see it when you register for the program and go through it. So let's quickly run through the 8 domains, and we'll call it a day. So I will have time for us to register and start up where it is. So the first domain here is security and risk management. And this domain covers the foundational concept of cybersecurity, including risk management, governance, laws, and ethics in this security and risk management domain. It focuses on maintaining security policies, business continuity, and ensuring compliance with legal registration regulations. Then the use case. The use case. Now, what we're doing is we'll look at the general overview of the domain. The first domain is security and risk management. Then we'll look at its use case. Risk assessment. A company evaluates potential risk before launching new software, identifying threats like malwares or data breach, and creating a plan to mitigate these risks. Then on the compliance management, a healthcare company, for example, ensures compliance with the HIPAA to protect patient records. Down to the security policies, organizations enforce password policies that require users to change passwords regularly to minimize unauthorized access. Then also below here, we have little practical to do for people who want to go beyond and above. So imagine you are securing your home Wi-Fi network. So you set a strong password, enable encryption, and restrict access to only trusted devices, which mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. So this is the use case and the practical approach towards the first domain, which is security and risk management. That we say that it covers the foundational concept of cybersecurity, including risk management, the governance behind it, the laws, and the ethics. This material also is available for use if you pre-request for it. I could add it to the folder of the group. So the second one is asset continuity. Second domain is security. This security domain involves protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling. It includes secure storage, encryption, and proper data destruction when necessary. See, I think one of the trainings I was in, we are open to the fact that uh, companies or organizations, they don't just when data is in their hands, it's not just about when the data is alive or useful. Even destruction of data, there are rules and policies which are being used to determine how data is being destroyed. So, how many of you have had any of such idea or experience? Anybody? Okay.
I think the simple use case is when if you have a shredder,
Yes.
after using your, we have some printouts
Mm-hmm.
that contains sensitive,
Customer data.
stuff in
Yes.
it. So you will make sure that you shredded it
Properly.
before you can then throw it out. So I
Yes.
think it's a practical use case for this.
Exactly. Exactly. So the use case, data classification, a company categorizes data as confidential or public to determine the appropriate level of protection. So all data don't come the same and all of them don't work the same. So secure disposal also, just like you rightly mentioned now. An organization securely disposes of obsolete hard drives using shredding techniques to ensure data cannot be recovered. Then practical to do, a small business needs to classify financial records as confidential and use encryption to protect them, ensuring only authorized personnel can access them. So in this domain, which is asset security, everything going to be thought about it will involve or will circle around protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling. So the third domain here will be security architecture and engineering, which focuses on designing and building secure systems. Okay, I think this affects even the website that I scanned recently. So if the building or the design process follows secure patterns and secure code and handling and etc. So the probability of being so vulnerable will be drastically reduced. So definition: this domain focuses on designing and building secure systems and networks. It involves applying security models, ensuring encryption, and managing security measures to protect infrastructure from threats. Okay. Under the use case, secure design, when designing a company's internal network, engineers use firewalls and intrusion detection systems to block malicious traffic. IoT security. A smart home setup is protected by applying encryption to communication between IoT devices and ensuring they cannot be accessed remotely by hackers. One of the recent attacks that I read about, the very big organization, but you'll be surprised that of all the vulnerabilities or the surfaces used to attack them, it was through their AC, air conditioning units. Can you imagine that? Who can tell me why or how that could be possible? Mr. George, any idea?
No idea, but I think I've seen some people download the remote controls with their phone for
Hmm.
ACs and it
Hmm.
perfectly. So then how much work
Hmm. Yeah, I see the angle you're coming with. I see the angle you're coming with.
short so
Yes.
it's something that it can happen. If I download the remote control in my phone and I control an AC with that with my phone, using my phone. So
Hmm.
it's very, very easy for a child attacker to do something like that.
Hmm.
He's a professional already.
Yes. So, Mr. Chinedu, any idea, any contribution? Hello, Mr. Chinedu, are you there?
Yes, Yes, I am.
Okay. So any connection?
Nothing comes to my mind
Okay.
presently.
Okay. So organizations most somehow they put all their, at least with this rise in IoT devices, where the AC is automatic, is working with the light and the network. When there is the sensors, everything is working together. And when there is too much, the temperature drops, the AC comes up or goes up. So, and I believe one other way that they might have gotten that blow is through the how do they call it? These people that uh, where you go and buy your stuffs, your devices from. Uh, how do they put these guys? Uh,
To the third party.
yes, the third party, the people provisioning those machines and stuffs for them. Okay, so when you
Yes.
buy an AC that has some, you know, hanky panky configurations inside it and it's connecting to your network, even your printer. Some printers are vulnerable to vulnerable because your printer is connected to your computer and your computer is connected to the internet. If someone hacks into your computer, your printer, the person is already, in fact, from the printer, the person can go through all the whole network, all the devices connected to that network. So, in this particular use case, he said a smart home setup is protected by applying encryption to communication between IoT devices. All those devices that can hear and listen to the internet that we have both in the organizations and in our home, they should be encrypted and ensuring they cannot be accessed by remotely by hackers. So the practical to do, a student learning about cybersecurity might design a mock secure email system incorporating encryption to protect messages from interception. Or even as you are going to be setting up your home lab, you scan all your devices. Maybe if you have a printer in your house or you have anything that listens to the internet, you scan them to know if there are open ports where people could or hackers could, that are vulnerable that might be able to be accessed remotely. Sorry about that. So moving on to domain 4 here, communication and network security. This domain emphasizes securing networks and data communication channels. It addresses how information is transmitted across networks and how to protect it from threats like eavesdropping and data inceptions, which are always going on. The use case for network communication and network security domain, we have network segmentation. In corporate environment, separating the network into segments ensures that if one segment is compromised, the others remain secure. Also, VPN implementation. Employees working remotely use virtual private network VPNs to securely access companies' resources, preventing man in the middle. Then practical work to do. When connecting to public Wi-Fi, users should enable a VPN to secure their communication and protect sensitive information. Most hotels they have free Wi-Fi, and most times when people hear free Wi-Fi or they see free Wi-Fi, they are eager and very fast to connect their device and use. Most of those connections are not secure. So the fifth domain here is the identity and access management (IAM) domain. This domain involves managing user identities and controlling access to resources. It ensures that users are properly authenticated and authorized to access systems based on their role and privileges. A security man shouldn't have data that is inside the building. The secretary should only be limited to data that is available for them to work with. The doctor, for example, if we are looking at the use case of a medical, should only be as what's it called, able to read and write data. In fact, there are, I think during a security controls in IIC2, this training, there are levels of access controls being given to being used in an organization, where you find out that some offices can read and write, while some can only read but cannot write, while some can read and write up and not down, while some can read and write down and not up. So all those what's it called, control measures, especially, they function in this particular domain. It ensures that users are properly authenticated and authorized to access systems based on their role and privilege. So who can give me a simple scenario, probably in your place of work, or relatable scenario that portrays this particular domain? Anyone?
I think this area is saying something like, if you are not, sorry, sorry, can you go back? Can you go back?
Okay.
All right, yes, okay. So he's saying something like, if you are not, if someone is not, um, if you are not, if you are not meant to have access to a particular thing,
Mm-hmm.
access will definitely be denied,
Mm-hmm.
from you.
Mm-hmm.
For example, people who works in the bank, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you know, so there are certain, things you will be allowed to see, depending on the area you are working. So if you are not working in the, for example, forex section, you will not be able to see, the information concerning forex.
Mm-hmm.
When if you are working in the customer care section, you will be allowed to see certain things relating to your customers.
Yes.
It will not go beyond that. And that is why something like multi-factor authentication and all that, we are introduced.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go in there, you will be asked to, to provide something to show that this information you want to access, you are actually allowed to access it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Thank you very much for that contribution. So, just like you said, in the use cases, multi-factor authentication, employees use both a password and a fingerprint to scan access sensitive financial systems, enhancing security. Just like you just explained it. Access control policies. An IT department implements role-based access control, RBAC, to ensure that only administrators can change system configurations or access privileged information also. So practicals to do: setting up MFA on your multi-factor authentication on your personal accounts, such as your email, social media accounts, etc., adds an extra layer of security, reducing the likelihood of account takeover. I remember sometime 3 months ago, in a group where I belong. I think it's actually an Nigerian NYSC group. So someone was complaining that uh, they got random calls asking them to give a code. So I just chipped in and told them, don't give anybody code. In fact, don't even answer any call on duress. The first code is don't answer call on duress. Don't act. If the person is telling you it is happening now, no, 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 you need to act now. Tell the person, I'll call you back later. Let the information sink in. Share with a trusted person so that let there be two ears hearing it. So when they call, they try to put you in a fast mode so that you will not think, you will not have time to think about the scam or the actions of what they want to do to you. So while I was advising them as a security personnel in that group, immediately I got an OTP on my WhatsApp on my phone, and I read it, WhatsApp OTP, and it says under someone is trying to log in your account in another device. Use this OTP to, finalize the login. I'm like, who is trying to? And before you know it, it wasn't up to 10 minutes. I didn't give anybody the code. Before 10 minutes, my account logged off, my WhatsApp account logged off. But I already have, I think I had like 3-factor authentications on my WhatsApp. The first one, the second one, and there's another PIN which I think I'll use. So once the person tries to log in with this normal OTP that, I think the way they've gone smart now, the smarter guys or the ones with higher tech, they don't need you to call the OTP for them. Once WhatsApp sends out the OTP, they could be able to see it. But the code that you yourself will impute yourself, they don't have it. WhatsApp don't even have it. So you are the only ones to provide it. So the code that WhatsApp sent to my phone, probably the bad person intercepted it. Now, WhatsApp will request for the second code, which I am the only one that have it. And that is multi-factor authentication playing out. He couldn't log in, so it bounced back again. I have to re-log in and re-log myself inside and also warn them in the group. So setting up multi-factor authentications is very, very important in the, as far as security is concerned. So let's move ahead. In domain 6 is security assessment and testing. So this domain focuses on evaluating the security posture of systems through assessment, testing, and audits. Assessment, just like I did this vulnerability test assessment on the website. It includes vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, and continuous monitoring. In this particular domain, security assessment and testing. So what I made sure to do is in this few weeks bootcamp that all the major um, projects or the major skills or works that is involved in cybersecurity, that we get to practically touch one or two or three of them during the course of this program. So that yes, it's called a bootcamp for uh, beginners, pure beginners. But when you're coming out not as a beginner. You're coming out as probably an intermediate level personnel who has enough information and enough skill to push ahead and make a good and successful career. So that is the whole aim in putting up these boot camps. Okay, taking people from zero or beginner through the process. They'll get their hands on, they'll get the theoretical part, and they will have enough information to move ahead. Because indeed, the profession is a large one, very large one. There is so much to cover. But when there is a focus on a particular section, for example, people, if you focus on GRC and you do GRC for a year, 2 years, You're going to get good at policy writing. You're going to get good at the governance. You're going to get very good at it, and you keep on increasing on it. If you focus on penetration testing, on because every day brings new challenges and new ways of solving problems, and the same way your proficiency will grow also. So in the use case and the practical to do, we have using free tools like Nmap. Beginners can scan their home network for potential vulnerabilities, ensuring that all devices are properly secured. So let me ask, because we are going to do this. This one is included in the practical section when we start our practicals. How many of us have a router or modem that we use in our home, or probably we are using currently to connect to the internet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. Mr. George, what about you? Do you have a router or modem?
Yes, I have a router.
Okay, Benjamin.
No, that's
Okay, good. So we also have, I think, some of the projects, some of the practicals can still be done when you hotspot. If your router is not available and you hotspot your internet from your phone or from your devices. But the results getting from a phone hotspot will be limited compared to that from a router or a modem. Okay, let's fire down. On the seventh domain, security operations, we already have a lot to digest over the few weeks ago on security operations. This domain involves the day-to-day tasks required to keep an organization's assets secure. Okay, it includes the incident response, disaster recovery, and maintaining the operational security of information systems. Okay. On the use case, disaster recovery, after a cybersecurity attack, a company uses its backup systems to restore critical data and operations, not just a disaster recovery. When you set up your machine, your Linux machine, so before every um, major installation or update, try and take a snapshot. Okay, it's like a backup of a timeline. So if the update you are trying to do, if it doesn't work, you could revert back to the earliest stable version of your machine or your system. Okay. So incident response, the cybersecurity team detects a phishing attack and quickly responds by blocking malicious IPs and quarantining affected systems. So practical to do, developing a basic incident response plan for your personal devices can also help you react quickly if you are compromised, such as knowing how to change your password, disconnect from the internet, call your internet service providers, or even block your emails, etc. In case of stuffs, I'm talking about physical stuffs. Probably, I think there was a case where I lost my phone through robbery incident, and I use my wife's phone as a multi-factor authentication most times. So whatever application that is running on my phone, the emails, etc., they can be accessed. I can access them through my wife's phone. So immediately that incident happened, I had to rush home, use her phone, and log myself inside all my accounts and change the password, deactivated them. So I'm not only battling with loss of device, and of course the device is locked. But in case they find their way to, unlock it, they will only find redundant materials or assets. So that's a practical way also on disaster recovery. We have 4 minutes to the end of this first meeting. And what is the last? Okay, the last domain is software development and security. If the timer times out and we are not yet done, we have 3 more slides to go before this class ends. Let me see whether we could just squeeze it in under 4 minutes. This domain covers the security of software applications. throughout their development lifecycle. It ensures that security is integrated into the design. You see, that's what I was telling you. Right from the design phase, security should be integrated. Coding, testing, and deployment of softwares. Use case, secure coding practices, security testing in development. All these are found in the security, software development security domain. So when you go through your ICT training, you're going to mostly see all these domains in real view, and they will explain, give you more insight, and of course you will have some take home and classworks from there too. Very simple ones. So ahead of our next class, I think our practical class is going to be starting from next week. So you're going to install these tools. You could take a screenshot, or when I share the file, this presentation file, you'll be able to get them. For some of us who already have our virtual machine installed and our Kali machine installed, read up about Nmap, read up about ports and types of ports, and also IP addresses, at least to the layman knowledge, so that when we are talking about scanning ports or IP address, it wouldn't all that be uh, alien for us. So our next class will be on home lab setup and network scanning using Nmap. Thank you very much, guys. Please, I would welcome any contribution or question under 2 minutes before we wrap up, if there is any. Any contributions or questions?
Question, okay, the question I have is there any material for this ACC?
Yes, in when the whole training syllabus, you have your materials, even the grocery for flashcards or words and meaning, etc. All of them are inside the training portal.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we have less than 1 minute. So thank you very much, guys. I will entertain any questions too on the group, and I will see you guys within the week. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye, bye.